Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm taking a look at the Carolina Panthers and determining whether or not they have a shot at winning the NFC South. But before getting to that topic, question for those of you viewing. I want to hear from the Panthers fans, just any NFL fans in general. Comment down below what your record prediction is for the Carolina Panthers. And of course, remember to consider that there's going to be a 17-game season. So keep that in mind. Like I said, drop those comments down below to see your predictions and I'll reveal mine at the end. But getting into this topic, addressing the elephant in the room, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's obviously the Saints are still going to be competitive without Drew Brees. They're not going to be the worst team in the NFL. Falcons with Kyle Pitts, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Matt Ryan. They're not going to be fun to deal with, but still, the biggest problem, elephant in the room, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Can the Carolina Panthers take them down? Division games, I do feel like this is a pro to the Panthers just because division games are such tough rivals that anything can happen in division games. Even if one team is better than the other, just when you have guys play their absolute heart out, play as hard as they can, you have teams pull off upsets. I mean, look at the Bengals. They were one of the worst teams last year, and they pulled off an upset against the Steelers, who I think only had one loss at the time. It just doesn't matter sometimes, and that is a benefit to the Panthers. But looking at the Panthers' own squad, Sam Darnold, he's going to be probably the biggest variable in determination for this team. I'm a guy who truly believes in Sam Darnold. I believe he never got the chance in New York that he really deserved. Sticking with Adam Gase, his recent running back was Frank Gore. His receivers were Rashad Perryman and Jamison Crowder. And now he's in a Carolina who has Joe Brady and Matt Rule. Finally, they have a year of the NFL together under their belt, and they have NFL experience to an extent now. It's not their rookie year as being a head coach in the NFL when it comes to Matt Rule. Now he has a more competent quarterback, and Sam Darnold has more competent receivers in Robbie Anderson and in DJ Moore and in Terrace Marshall Jr., a pretty good rookie out of LSU who I have a lot of faith in. Terrace Marshall Jr., he's one of these guys that might become I don't want to say hidden gem because he was a second rounder. He's still highly graded, but like a receiver that we're really underestimating, and he could be a guy that really emerges as one of the top receivers like a Chase Claypool did last year. He was still a decently graded receiver, but no one thought he'd possibly be the second or third best receiver in his class. Terrace Marshall Jr., there's some big names in front of him. Rashad Bateman, Kadarius Toney, the obvious ones, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase. Terrace Marshall Jr., though, he's going into a system where a lot of focus is going to be focused on DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, and that could allow the rookie who's got some size to him, 6'3", 6'4", to get some open schemes, to create some separation because so much focus is going to be already on the proven receivers. When you got a guy like Devontae Smith, he's like the best receiver already on the Eagles roster. Defenses are going to know to target him. I'm not saying Terrace Marshall's just going to be wide open, but when you're comparing him to like a Devontae Smith, a receiver that's graded higher, Devontae Smith is automatically the number one receiver on his team, so he's automatically going to have the number one corner on him. When it comes to Terrace Marshall, he might get a matchup against a number 3 corner, and this is a guy that can really create some separation and get some open spots, like I said, because most focus will be on the number 1 and number 2 guy in Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. So I'm really excited to see if that plays out. Like I think it possibly will, but who knows? Either way, even if it doesn't work like that, I still think he's a great talent. They also addressed the offensive line a little bit, and Brady Christensen to help out Sam Darnold. You got to protect your quarterback. Looking at the defense, this is a team that I'm really in love with their defense, but I do think they're 1 year away from being like a serious defense, like a top 5, top 10 defense. I think they can maybe break top 10 this year, but I do think they're 1 year away from possibly breaking the bank and becoming one of the best ones. Got the up-and-coming Jeremy Chin at the safety position. You took the first corner in the draft in Jaycee Horn. That was a big pick that I'm actually a pretty big fan of. Up front, you got Derek Brown, Hassan Reddick. You signed Denzel Perryman to kind of captain this team at the linebacker position. Like I said, this defensive roster I'm a big fan of, but I do think they're 1 year away from, getting some chemistry together, getting some playing time together to officially hit that big jump mark. And Matt Rule being an offensive coach, I do think it's just going to need a year to develop for the defense to catch up to the offense. Defense might be better than the offense, but like I said, having an offensive-minded head coach and Matt Rule, I think this defense is going to need some time to catch up with the rookies, with the new additions. I just think it needs a year of gelling to be a serious defense. Not that it won't be good, but I mean absolutely great. Overall, this Panthers team, it is ready to win now. Of course, win now in the extent of they're ready to have a positive season. They're ready to be above 500. They're ready to be a possible wild card team. But once you're a wild card team, who's to say you can't be a division winner and win your division, make the playoffs, and have a home field game? Looking at the division, like I said, I don't want to just cancel out and oversimplify the Falcons and Saints, but I just think the Bucs are, of course, the biggest threat in this division, and they're going to be the one thing stopping the Panthers from winning it. But division rivals, like I said, upsets can happen, and that could open up the field for the Panthers. I just think the Panthers can handle a Saints that don't have a Drew Brees, and they're going to rely on, we don't know, Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill. We don't know who the starter will be. Michael Thomas, is he going to bounce back? How is this team going to do after losing a couple players in Jared Cook, Emmanuel Sanders, Trey Hendrickson, Janoris Jenkins? How is this team going to do without a couple of their role players? They didn't lose their number one guys in Marshawn Lattimore and Alvin Kamara, but still, they lost a couple pieces to this team that made them one of the best rosters, and it's going to hurt them, and of course, losing Drew Brees as well. I just think this Panthers team is more ready to win than the Saints. And then looking at the Falcons, like I said, I think offensively, they could be a serious threat. I mean, the Falcons last year, they were a serious threat. They lost in blowout games. They put up 28 a game, and now that they got Kyle Pitts, a healthy Julio, an emerging Calvin Ridley, and Matt Ryan trying to prove that he's still a top quarterback in the NFL, this Falcons team can have a lot of offensive firepower, but I just feel like they haven't found their identity yet of what they are. You're going to have a new head coach in Arthur Smith. I'm not sure he'll be an immediate click. Maybe his only success was in Tennessee because of how much Derrick Henry could carry a team. How much can Arthur Smith actually direct a team? I'm not saying he can't coach them. I'm just saying it's a possibility. And I do think this Panthers team can handle the Falcons and the Saints. I'm not saying they'll go 4-0 against the two, but I wouldn't be surprised if amongst those two teams they go 3-1 or 4-0. And then looking at the Bucs, if you want to win the division, you're going to have to steal a game for the Bucs, plain and simple. You're not going to lose to the Bucs twice and somehow come on top in that division. But at home, say it's just a rainy day, just a weird football game, anything can happen. But of course, the biggest variable is going to come down to Sam Darnold. Is he going to step up and really turn his career around like we're expecting him to? Is he going to do what Ryan Tannehill did when he left Adam Gase? He left Adam Gase, went to Tennessee, and all of a sudden got a new contract, brought his team to the playoffs, brought success to Tennessee, and gave them hope. Can Sam Darnold do that now that he's leaving Adam Gase and going to a new team? I don't want to say there's no more excuses, but he's going to be running out of them if he doesn't turn it around this year. We at bare minimum need to see improvement from Sam Darnold. He's got more weapons than he's ever had. He's got the chemistry with Robbie Anderson already. That was probably one of the best years Sam Darnold had in New York when he had Robbie Anderson. Now that he's back with them, he's got even more help behind him between DJ Moore and Terrace Marshall, and of course a run game as well and a receiving back. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is probably the best dual threat running back in the NFL. I'd say he's probably the best running back when it comes to running and pass catching. That's just pretty obvious. I mean, just last year when he's healthy in 2019, not 2020, he had 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards. Running backs don't do that. Christian McCaffrey's a special breed, especially when Sam Darnold is coming from a team that gave him Frank Gore as a running back. I like Sam Darnold a lot, and I like Christian McCaffrey a lot, and I do think this team will see improvement. Realistically, I see them getting anywhere from 8 to 11 wins, and I know that's kind of a big range, not a precise prediction, but with just Sam Darnold being so question mark like, such a wild card, and we don't know, I think they'll be a competitive team, but I think they'll fall short of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, looking at their schedule, they do play, of course, the NFC South. It's a total of 6 games, Bucs twice, Panthers twice, Falcons twice. They'll play the NFC East. They kind of got a break there, but these are the divisions you got to go like almost 3-1, 4-0 on if you want to win the division. Not saying they have to go 4-0 against the entire NFC East in order to make the playoffs, but if you're trying to beat out the Super Bowl defending champs in order to win that division and get a home playoff game, you're going to have to pull off some sweeps amongst these series. You play the AFC East. Sam Darnold's got to dominate his old team in the New York Jets. He's got to possibly get one up on Bill Belichick. He might have to steal one from Miami. And again, this is a Buccaneers team that's going to win 13, 14, 15 games minimum. I see the floor for the Buccaneers to be 13-4 this next year. And Panthers, 13-4 is not impossible for them. If the Buccaneers go 13-4, Panthers go 13-4, and they split a series within the division, and then all of a sudden it comes down to strength of schedule. Panthers, that is a likely outcome. If the Buccaneers lose 4 games, the Panthers lose 4 games, it's asking for a lot, but it's not impossible. To me, my gut feeling says no, they're not going to win the division. But to say they don't have any chance at all, I would be lying. I do think they have a small chance. They got a puncher's chance to pull it off, but they have to pull off some sweeps. They got to, I want to say they have to pull off, they have to sweep the Saints and Falcons and go 4-0 against them too. But if you want a chance at winning that division, it's not going to hurt to try and go undefeated against those, I don't want to say easier games, but the games you need to win if you're trying to fight for the top spot. Again, I like this Panthers team a lot this year, and I like them to turn it around, but I like them better long-term, giving them a year to gel, a year to get chemistry together, and seeing, I think these rookies are going to be hits, and Brady Christensen and Terrace Marshall Jr. and Jaycee Horn, but right now we're relying on them to be great, and we're just looking at them on paper. We need to see them on field and actually play and see if they're going to be hits and not be busts. Not saying they will be, but we got to see how it is going to work out. I like them this year to make a possible wildcard spot, and it's not impossible to win that division, but I don't see it happening. The Buccaneers, they're the best team in football we're talking about here. No knock to the Panthers for losing to the Bucs. Like I said, they're the best team in football. If the Panthers finish second in that division, that's still an accomplishment. If they get a wildcard spot, it's still an accomplishment. But against a Super Bowl defending chance, against the GOAT, you can only ask for so much, Panthers fans. But as always, guys, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think the Panthers will do in the NFC South? Do you think they'll finish first, second, third, fourth? Where do you think they'll rank it? Of course, where do you have them finishing in wins this season? Today, I have them finishing probably right around, if I was forced to pick a number, probably right around 10-7. It sounds like a pretty number for the Panthers, but again, Sam Darnold is going to be the biggest question mark and variable determining where this team goes for 2021. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. 2-minute warning.